Are you guys tired of the stock head unit in your E9X BMW? Well, today's video is going to fix and change all of that. It really brings the BMW into the modern age.
What's going on, guys? Back with another video. Right now, I'm probably never going to do an unboxing video on this channel, but all right, this right here is what today's video is going to be all about. This guy, this massive touch screen. So if you want to retrofit like a new iDrive style Apple CarPlay functioning touch screen into your non-iDrive E9X, this is probably going to be your best bet. This is in fact a new and unreleased product from ECS Tuning. As soon as this actually becomes released, I will be linking it somewhere for you guys to be able to find it. But in the meantime, I have linked down below in the description the current outgoing upgrades for Apple CarPlay for already existing iDrive vehicles. So that's like your CIC and CCC E9X cars. Right now, like I mentioned, this guy is not on the site, but it is in fact a prototype item. So pretty cool. I'm going to be doing an install on this. Have to cut the dash for the installation of this guy, but we'll see how that goes. So let's get right into it. All right, guys. So right off the bat here, first thing you're going to notice is this massive touch screen. And this thing is huge. I'm going to throw some of the specs up in there, but actually looks like a super nice piece. Any of the kind of weird glare of this stuff going on here is because of the screen protector, but I'm going to leave that on till the very end. But I'm going to put this aside for now and show you what else comes in the box. In the box, you also get a set of instructions, a finishing plate. So this is actually what goes on where you trim your dash. Looks super nice. The molding's great. You know, not a lot of flashing. Something you'd expect for like a higher quality piece. Also in the box is this template, which is going to come very in handy when you're trimming up that dash. Then your controller here. So this actually fits in the cup holder portion of the trim in the center console. You notice it does have an extra piece of trim. So the iDrive style controller is bolted in here with these 4 little screws. I'm almost wondering if you can do a retrofit to a genuine iDrive controller. It would be kind of neat. And then of course you also get your harnesses, which feel super nice. They have a nice kind of felt wrapping on them. Put those off to the side. It's like you have some antenna stuff, speaker. Looks like all this is going to be for the Bluetooth and the calling and all that. And then a little microphone. So we're going to see if we can hide this somewhere. You know, I don't want it out in the open exposed. I just want to keep a clean, simple OEM Plus look. You also have more wiring, more cables. And then finally the mounting bracket with all the little screws and stuff. So I'm going to put this guy back in the box in case there's any holes in the bag. Alright guys, so for this portion of the video, all you have to do is you have to remove this, and then there should be some screws back in here. And I'm going to run a time lapse on this. That way you guys aren't waiting on me. Alright, so now with all that removed is a good time to start getting this trim piece out. I'm not necessarily going to have to take this out now. It's just going to make it a little bit easier, especially with the iDrive controller sitting right here in this little pocket. So I'm just going to pop my shift knob off. Get the shift boot out of there. Start kind of prying up.
Then it was a little more difficult to pry out of here than it typically would be, but this is a brand new old stock E9X M3 Napa leather center console, which I picked up for a steal. Actually has like a tab broke somewhere up in there, which you can't even see. I ended up fixing it with just like some zip ties and a little bit of heat on the backside. Cleaned it up real nice. You wouldn't even know. But with that being said, let's get to installing this template. Actually, before that, I'm going to test the radio prior to cutting the dash.
So this right here is the number one biggest thing I see people miss on head units on these cars. So you get a harness like this in most of them. If you notice right here in these guys, it's blank and it has a slot with these little clips. You want to transfer over this green and black wire. I know it's kind of hard to see, but there's a little push tab. Here, release, it pops right out. So what you want to do with this, you want to transfer this guy straight over to your new harness here. Here, I'm still just testing this, so I'm going to plug this into the back of the head unit. Make sure that's nice and secure. Just going to lay this right here for now.
So in this portion of the video, the audio ended up cutting out. So you're going to get just this kind of neat little montage and some footage of the install, as well as some of my thoughts on the installation process. So in regards to cutting the dash, I actually ran into an issue, and it's just difficult to fit a Dremel tool in there. It creates a mess. Looking back on this, I would have purchased something like a hot knife. It would have made it a whole lot easier. So do yourselves a favor, if you are taking on an install of something like this, go out and buy yourself a hot knife. It's going to cut down on the mess, so that way you don't have to deal with the cleanup and the dust that I had to. One thing I would strongly recommend to you guys if you end up doing a head unit like this, where you have to cut the dash and you have a template, for starters, I would make sure that you start with a fresh blade. That was one mistake I had made. I would also make sure that when you're cutting through this and through the template, that you're cutting deep enough to actually get through the material and not just score it there. It is fairly thick, and there are 2 layers, so you do have this foam that you have to trim through as well, which I'll tackle in a second here. But just make sure, like I said, that you are cutting deep enough to actually get through the material. That way it peels off nicely and you don't have to go hunting for your cut lines. Alright guys, so this part, it can get kind of messy, but you're actually going to need to cut through this up here with something like a Dremel tool. So nothing fancy, but just something to get the job done. Alright, so I just got all of this trimmed up. Now I'm going to run through here real quick and just basically clean up all the edges. All right, so I got all this cut out, cleared away. It does actually fit this properly now. So this just sits in there like so. And then, yeah, it gets tightened down in with the bracketry. So, I'm gonna pop that back out of there. I'm just gonna go through and clean up everything. It's filthy in here. Word of advice, if you are planning on tackling a project like this, get yourself like a hot knife. That way you don't have to go through what I did and fling stuff all over the inside of your car. Now that this is all cleaned up, I'm just going to go ahead and put this in along with the head unit, and then tidy up some of this wiring here and get that tucked and ran through. Right now is as good of a time as any to give a little shameless plug. Right here, the Schwaben Torx Screwdriver Set. These things are going to come in handy hopefully here. Overall, I'm super happy with the way this thing looks. I mean, it really just modernizes the interior of the car. Now you can bring it back to like your iDrive setup here. So it has your navigation, music, Bluetooth, video, your car settings, themes. So some of the themes here, the efficient just changes everything to kind of a blue background. Personal is like the kind of bronze and purplish blue. And then I have it set to sport just because I kind of like the way it looks. It has a dash here, which does sync up to the car. So everything shows up there accordingly. And you can also go in and customize this even further through some of the settings here. As you guys can see, I'm going to scroll through the settings for you. It has loads of options. So options for cameras, both front and rear cameras, which is super nice. You can change your time zone, which I've already done so. Some of the microphone settings. One of the biggest features of this that I think is kind of neat is the UI style. Right now I have this set up so it looks like iDrive 8, but you can actually go through and change it. Say if you like iDrive 7, so like your F chassis, or iDrive 6, like early F chassis, you can do that as well. On top of that, like I had mentioned, the iDrive looks great, but the Apple CarPlay works just as well. So this is going to work just as good as any new vehicle. They do use a third party for Apple CarPlay, which I think is totally fine. I mean, my phone automatically connects to this, plays music, and on top of that, it actually does sound better than the factory unit. So that is a huge win in my book. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I really think this changed the whole interior of the 90. It makes it look like a modern car. So just drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. As soon as these are up for sale, I will give you guys a link to it. But in the meantime, for you guys that already have like iDrive in your E9X cars, I will link in the description below some alternatives to this that do kind of a similar thing. Those will be affiliate links through ECS Tuning, so anything you do purchase there does help me out and helps the channel out. I'd really appreciate it if you would check those out there. On top of that, I will post like a general affiliate link for ECS Tuning, so anything you purchase through that link does help me out and helps my channel out, so I should be able to do some more cool content for you guys. But that should be all for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully the audio quality is a little bit better. I know I had some issues on the past ones, so hopefully I fixed things with the mic setup that I ended up using.
that being said, you guys take care. Have a good one. See you in the next video.